And to discuss more on this, we have Telecom Expert Prashant Singhal joining in on this conversation. Prashant, good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining in. Well, so much has happened in the telecom space over the last month, month and a half, 2 months. But I'll start off with the auctions itself. And as Reema was highlighting, it's likely to be a subdued spectrum auction this time around. What are some of the important things that you are watching out for in this auction in particular?
I think this is going to be a muted auction. I think the only surprise, if any, could be if Vodafone is going to pick up any of the 5G spectrum, apart from the renewal, which is just about 12 megahertz. So if they are going to participate on 5G, I think that could be the only surprise element. We need to see what happens because the earnest money deposit, which is there. Geo is the highest, but we know their spectrum holdings are also highest, and there's no renewal spectrum. So let's see how it pans out. The good thing is that from an industry standpoint now, auctions are going to happen every year. So there's no there's no scramble for auction, and I think that's a very good government policy. That uncertainty of saying, okay, the next auction can happen after 3 years, 4 years, so let's get more spectrum, invest more into that spectrum right now. I think that's all gone. So where you need spectrum, you can see that I can wait for 1 year, might as well wait for 1 year and buy more spectrum. So this could be generating maybe 25,000 crores of revenues for the government. But let's see how it pans out today.
Okay. Well, Prashant, hi, welcome to the show. Well, that's one of the key points that you mentioned about Jio, where the earnest money deposit is at around 3,000 odd crores. It's put in the max, but it doesn't have any spectrum to be renewed. So what is the reason behind that?
I think it's best for us to wait till the end, but yeah, and they've got enough spectrum holdings. So unless they want to pick up some more on 900 megahertz, which is a good spectrum, let's see how it pans out.
Okay, all right. Overall, like we mentioned, the expectation is expected to be limited, or the participation is expected to be limited this time. What is your own expectation from the spectrum auction?
Yeah, as I said, I think it should be between 20 odd thousand crores north or south. 10%, 12%. I think that's what it should be. The renewal spectrum itself is going to be close to maybe 6,000-7,000 crores, and then there could be additional spectrum which could be in the same band for 4G. Could be another 8,000-10,000 crores. And as I said earlier, that if VI participates anything on 5G, then that could enhance the further value. So I would peg it about 20,000 north south, 10 to 15%.
Prashant, I wanted to ask you about Vodafone Idea, because that has been the one telecom stock that has been making headlines almost all through the year. Now, with the fundraise that they've done, the debt reduction plans that they are putting in place, but there is still no clarity on some of the capex plans they should be, because the 5G rollout for them is still yet to take place on a larger scale. But now that even some of the brokerages are also mentioning that they are likely to see some limited participation from Vodafone Idea, what is the kind of spectrum that they should be bidding for, or what are you focusing on when it comes to Vodafone Idea for this auction?
No, so we are not, focusing on anything specific, but 5G, I think let's also just go back a bit. 5G for the sector has not generated incremental revenues. I think that's unfortunate, but that's the same world over, right? If you just look at world over, the incremental revenues from 5G is not more than 1 to 2%. Pick up any of the markets, and a large piece of 5G revenues comes on the enterprise side. We talked about private networks. We talked about IoT over the last few years globally, but we haven't seen too much of incremental adaptation and revenues which is going to come in. So it's about an inflection point. I think in India, of course, the operators have gone and picked up the spectrum. They've invested in the networks. They haven't seen too much of growth which is coming in. I think all of them have mentioned that in multiple analyst calls. And therefore, I think for the ones which haven't invested, is this the right time for them to pick up some spectrum and look at the investment? I think that's what could be one of the strategies that one could look at, that invest now and build the capex. But there is also a large part of 4G which is what I think they may be looking at and picking up this renewal spectrum and incremental spectrum to catch up on the 4G coverage with the other operators. So I think that may be another strategy that they may have.
Okay. All right. Prashant, now moving away from the auctions, what's your expectation in terms of tariffs? Any kind of hike, timing, quantum?
I mean, tariff hike is imminent in India. I think we said it should happen post elections. It should happen because these tariffs are not sustainable, as we know, and the kind of consumption which is happening in India, the data consumption which is happening in India, there could be some level of misuse as well, and therefore, from an operator standpoint, I would think that at least a 20-25% tariff hike should be there. May not be at a single stroke, could be over a 1 year period with 6 months each. I think the tariff hike for at least 10 to 15% should happen very, very soon. It could be in the next 30 days for all you know. As these are quite unsustainable tariffs. I mean, everything has gone up. Inflation is going up. Every price of everything in this country is going up other than telecom tariffs.
Indeed, price of everything is going up other than telecom tariffs. Prashant, thanks a lot for joining in and sharing your insights there on the spectrum auctions and the impending tariff hikes that are yet to take place. Prashant Singhal there with his views.